Hi, everyone. My name is Johannes. I'm working in the business development department of Dawn Health. We work with pharma companies on patient and physician-facing solutions in the digital health space. And obviously, my role is mostly focused on sales and finding these kinds of projects. We specialize a little bit in user experience and digital transformation to some extent. So I'm really looking forward to talking about this right now. So welcome to 5 Insights. So the first thing that I want to talk about, like in terms of user experience, right, is a lot of times people take for granted that user experience is just something that needs to be in every product and needs to be in every solution. That creates a threshold sort of for what other solutions will have to present, right? Like think about any app, any website, any actually service, any product that you're using, right? You're used to very good user experience. You're used to this like really refined things. Otherwise, you don't get interested, right? Like if there's too many friction, if there's too much friction, if there's problems, if you constantly encounter issues, then you just don't want to use the thing. So a lot of times that is sort of what drives the inherent perception and the need for good user experience. Now, good user experience in healthcare is a little bit more tricky than typical, because a lot of times when you're dealing with a patient wants to mostly be healthy, right? Like if you're dealing with a chronic condition, that's just not something you can fulfill. So the inherent need in a user experience is not what it would be in any other product, right? Like if I want to buy a product or if I have a certain craving or need, you can fulfill that. You can like get that dopamine hit. You can't get that really in digital health. It's really, really difficult. So you need to work with proxies. You need to work with all kinds of things and behaviors that sort of lead you to that goal, but that still leave you satisfied. So from the start, user experience is a lot more complicated in healthcare and in digital health. The second part is a lot of people think that, especially like health systems, right? Like say physician EHRs is a very good example, right? Like we know that bad user experience in EHR has actually been proven to be detrimental to patient outcomes. So you'd think that that is a clear signal that you should focus on user experience. But focusing on user experience has two ramifications. Number one is it's expensive to really dive deep. It's complicated. Most of the time you're regulated. Like there's a lot of things that can make it more complicated for you to actually do good user experience and do good user research, right? Like the data you can capture is obviously more difficult to track, and you need to be very careful with how you set up certain things. So that's the second part that's sort of there. And what I always want to do, like when you think about, what I always want to say is like when you think of bad user experience in healthcare, that's honestly a little unfair to some extent as well. If you look at the hospital, it's not like anyone wants to design an EHR, or I'm using EHRs as an example, but anyone wants to design these systems with a poor user experience. It's just they are a reflection of the complicated processes that in themselves are not don't have a good user experience. So if you're replicating obviously a pathway, if you're digitizing a pathway that is poor from the start in terms of the user experience, your user experience that comes from that is obviously also going to be poor. So you'd have to technically do the digital transformation and like digitizing all of the things that are coming on with a reimagining of the entire pathway and of the user experience that sort of comes from the health system. And those are two very different things to take apart, right? That are two very different value propositions, very different processes. So it's often hard to combine both of them. So you always have to take this very stepwise, and that's where the difficult part comes in. And that's where you see really, really good companies making great advancements. I think that's more or less it.